Do you know that moment when you do everything possible to get someone's attention? You try hard to please them, but it feels like nothing is ever enough. That bitter feeling, as if your presence doesn't matter, is frustrating, isn't it? But let me tell you something. The problem is not yours. The truth is that when someone doesn't value you, the best response is not to try harder to please them, but to turn the situation around. Today, I'm going to show you 12 simple tricks that will allow you to take control of the situation. If you're ready to discover how to make this person desperate for your attention, stay with me. Why being ignored has such a strong impact. Being ignored by someone you care about is like looking into a mirror that doesn't reflect back at you. No matter how hard you try, the feeling of being invisible can deeply shake your self-esteem. But why does it hurt so much? The answer lies in the impact these situations have on our sense of belonging and recognition, something we all seek in our relationships. When someone doesn't give you the value you deserve, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing the problem is yours. But that's not true. The issue often lies in how that person views relationships and the dynamic between you. Understanding this is crucial for regaining confidence. Instead of asking yourself, "What's wrong with me?" ask yourself, "What can I do to feel more secure in myself?" Another factor that amplifies this impact is how much you care. The more you value the person, the stronger the feeling of rejection. This creates an emotional cycle that is hard to break, but not impossible. Recognizing that you have control over your own happiness is the first step to breaking free from this pattern and regaining your inner strength. Even more importantly, realize that the value you offer to the world does not depend on anyone's validation. If someone fails to see your brilliance, they are the ones missing out on something truly valuable. Once you understand this, you will be able to change your stance and refocus on yourself. And that's when the game starts to shift. Understand that being ignored is not the end of the road, but the starting point. It is an opportunity to grow, become stronger, and prove that you don't depend on anyone to be happy. From now on, each of the tricks I'll share with you will be a tool to help you regain control of the situation and make it clear that your worth is immeasurable. Yourself first, the secret to changing the course. If you want someone to see your value, you must start with yourself. When you put yourself in second place or constantly seek someone else's approval, you end up dimming your own light. Valuing yourself is the most important step to transforming any relationship. And the most interesting part? It all starts with small changes in how you treat yourself. Think about this. How can you expect someone to see you as a priority if you don't do it yourself? The way you position yourself sends clear signals to the world about how you want to be treated. Dedicate more time to yourself, to taking care of your appearance, your physical and mental health, and most importantly, doing what makes you happy. This attitude not only changes how you feel but also attracts the attention of those around you. When you value who you are, a natural effect occurs. People begin to notice that your energy is different. You become more confident, more attractive, and above all, more self-assured. This doesn't mean being arrogant or self-centered. It means understanding that you are important and deserve to be treated with respect. This is an internal shift that does not go unnoticed. Additionally, letting go of the constant need for validation allows you to regain control. Instead of depending on someone else to feel good, you take charge of your own self-esteem. And do you know what's most powerful about this? Those who didn't value you before will begin to feel that they have lost access to something special. This change in posture is a silent invitation for people to reconsider how they treat you. After all, valuing yourself is not a trick, it's a necessity. It's the foundation of any healthy relationship. When you put yourself at the center of your own life, the people around you begin to see you differently. And those who didn't value you before will inevitably feel the difference. Turn your weaknesses into strengths. Everyone has insecurities. But what separates those who are admired from those who are ignored is how they handle them. Have you ever noticed how some people manage to transform something that could be a weakness into a unique trait? That's the secret you'll learn here. Instead of hiding what bothers you, use it to your advantage. For example, if you are shy, use it to demonstrate empathy and depth, qualities that attract the attention of those who truly matter. If you're emotional, show how it makes you more connected to others. When you accept who you truly are instead of trying to fit into external standards, something magical happens. People start seeing you differently. After all, confidence is not about being perfect. It's about feeling comfortable with yourself. Another way to turn your weaknesses into strengths is to focus on your personal growth. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to the person you were yesterday. Why not work on the things that bother you, not for others, but for yourself? If you feel you need to improve your communication skills, invest in them. If you think you could take better care of your health, start today. These steps, no matter how small, show the world that you are in constant evolution. Now, I want you to do a quick exercise. Take a piece of paper and write down what you consider to be your weaknesses. Next to each one, write how this could be seen as something positive. For example, being overly organized may seem like a problem to some, but it's also a trait that makes you efficient and reliable. When you change the way you view your characteristics, you start attracting those who truly appreciate your essence. And most importantly, stop apologizing for who you are. People only value you when you show them that you value yourself, with all your strengths and even your imperfections. And do you know what happens when you do this? Those who once ignored you start to realize they are missing out on something unique. Show that you have a life full of purpose. Nothing is more attractive and magnetic than someone who lives with purpose. When you demonstrate that you have clear goals and are constantly moving toward them, you send a powerful message to the world. I am enough, and my life matters. This not only strengthens your self-esteem, but also makes anyone who didn't value you rethink how they see you. After all, who wouldn't want to be around someone full of life and determination? Start by reflecting on what truly makes you happy and what you want to achieve. It doesn't have to be something grand. The most important thing is that it's meaningful to you. Maybe you have a talent you've always wanted to develop, a hobby you abandoned, or even a dream that seems too distant. Pick up these projects again and allow yourself to move forward, even if slowly. With each step, you'll notice that you feel more motivated and confident, and this doesn't go unnoticed by those around you. Showing that you are focused on your goals creates a natural effect. It sparks curiosity and admiration. Imagine starting a dance class, learning a new language, or dedicating yourself to a volunteer project. You don't need to announce your changes or achievements, but the people around you will notice the transformation, whether it's in the sparkle in your eyes or your renewed energy. This sends a clear signal. I have priorities, and my happiness doesn't depend on anyone but myself. Reinvent your appearance to attract attention. The way you present yourself to the world says a lot about who you are. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about how you choose to express yourself. When someone doesn't value you, a change in appearance can be a powerful tool to reignite interest. And it's not just about catching the attention of others, it's also about how you feel when you look in the mirror. Small changes can have a big impact. Start by thinking about what you'd like to change or highlight about yourself. It could be an outfit that makes you feel more confident, a haircut you've always wanted to try, or even investing in something that better reflects your personality. It's not about following trends, but about finding something that aligns with what you want to communicate. When you feel good about your appearance, it reflects in your energy and posture, and the people around you will notice. Another powerful way to reinvent your image is by making subtle changes that create impact. Try different colors in your clothing, accessories that enhance your presence, or even a new fragrance. These small shifts show that you're evolving and send a signal that you are paying attention to yourself. And do you know what happens? People start to notice and wonder what's different about you. This sparks curiosity and changes the dynamic of your interactions. Now here's a special trick. Don't immediately reveal the reason behind these changes. Let people speculate. This creates an aura of mystery and makes those who once didn't value you start asking themselves, what's happening? The truth is, mystery has enormous power to capture attention and spark interest. Awaken curiosity with subtle changes. If there's one thing that moves people, it's curiosity. The feeling that something is changing but they can't quite understand what is enough to grab anyone's attention. That's why one of the most effective tricks to regain the interest of someone who didn't value you is to make small, noticeable changes, but in a way that is not immediately obvious. This creates an irresistible mystery. The change doesn't have to be drastic. Sometimes a new habit, like reading more, listening to different music, or changing your routine, is enough to intrigue those around you. Start visiting new places, trying things you've never done before, and subtly sharing these experiences. You don't need to explain anything. The goal here is to provoke that famous question, what's going on with them? Another way to awaken curiosity is to change the way you interact with people. For example, if you were always available, start being a bit more reserved. Respond to messages less frequently, or stop sharing details about your life so easily. This shift creates a sense of scarcity, and suddenly, those who didn't value you realize they don't have as much access to you as before. Also, focus on surprising people with unexpected attitudes. If you've always been predictable, start acting differently in certain situations. A spontaneous decision, a sudden change of plans, or an unexpected response can shake things up. Breaking the routine makes people pay more attention to you, because the unexpected is always intriguing. These changes should be made for yourself, not just to impress someone else. The idea is to use this moment to genuinely reinvent yourself. When you do this authentically, the mystery you create around yourself becomes natural and irresistible, and those who didn't value you before will be intrigued, curious, and inevitably more interested in you. Avoid arguments. The biggest trap for those who don't value you. Nothing gives others more power than falling into the trap of endless arguments. When you try to argue, explain, or even prove your worth to someone who clearly doesn't recognize it, you end up showing them that you care too much. The trick here is to do the opposite. Avoid arguments. When you choose silence or respond calmly, you completely disarm the other person and make them realize that they don't have the emotional control over you that they thought they had. Think about how many times you've exhausted yourself trying to convince someone of something that seemed so obvious to you. The truth is that arguing with someone who doesn't value you is like shouting in an empty room. It makes no difference. And worse, every word you say in an argument can be twisted, used against you, or simply ignored. By avoiding this cycle, you regain control of the situation. How can you do this in practice? When a moment of tension or confrontation arises, take a deep breath. Instead of reacting impulsively, choose a calm tone, or if necessary, say nothing at all. Silence can be a powerful response. It shows that you are not willing to waste your energy on something that won't bring you any return. This doesn't mean you're giving up or accepting mistreatment. It means you are setting boundaries and protecting your peace. Also, avoid making the mistake of trying to justify yourself. The more you try to explain your actions or feelings, the more you reinforce the idea that the other person has power over you. Instead, show confidence in your decisions. Say something like, "I understand your point of view," or, "That's fine, let's talk about it another time." This mature stance is unsettling. It makes the other person rethink their own attitude. Finally, remember that avoiding arguments is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of emotional intelligence. It's a way to show that you won't let yourself be dragged into someone else's drama. And do you know what happens? Those who didn't value you will start noticing this change and will inevitably ask themselves, what changed? Why aren't they reacting the same way anymore? And that's when the game turns in your favor. Give space, let absence work for you. When someone doesn't value you, the natural tendency is to try even harder to be close to them. You want to get their attention, prove how much you care. But the truth is, this almost always has the opposite effect. The secret to changing the situation is to do the exact opposite. Give space. It is in this space that longing does its job, and those who didn't value you before begin to feel the void your absence leaves behind. The first step is to control the urge to always be available. Reduce contact, reply to messages at your own pace, and show that you have a life of your own. This doesn't mean being rude or distant, but creating a healthy distance that shows you are no longer willing to revolve your life around someone else. This change in attitude awakens a sense of loss, because people only truly miss what they no longer have easy access to. Creating this space is not just about physical or digital distance. It's also about stopping the unconditional support that isn't reciprocated. When you stop being the person who is always available to solve everything, the other person starts to realize how much of a difference you made. And this is when your value becomes clear, precisely because you are no longer as present as before. While giving space, invest in yourself. Use this time to explore things that make you happy without depending on anyone else. Go out with friends, discover new places, invest in projects you had put on hold. These actions not only strengthen your confidence, but also show the other person that your life does not revolve around them. This creates a sense of curiosity, and over time, the person begins to realize how much they miss you. When you take a strategic step back, the impact is powerful. Those who didn't value you before begin to feel an unexpected discomfort, a longing they can't quite explain. And this absence, more than any words or actions, is what makes the person realize that they may have lost you, and that it's time to rethink how they treat you. Keep your achievements private for a while. Nothing intrigues people more than the unknown. When you share everything happening in your life, you give people unlimited access to your world, and they often end up taking it for granted. The trick here is to change this dynamic. Keep your achievements and changes to yourself for a while. This doesn't mean hiding who you are, but creating an air of mystery that makes people pay more attention to you. Imagine starting a new project, learning something different, or achieving a personal goal without announcing it to everyone. Let your results speak for themselves. When someone notices that you seem more confident or that something has changed in you, but they can't quite figure out what it is, their curiosity naturally grows. People feel the need to fill in the blanks, and this mystery makes them want to know more about you. Additionally, keeping your achievements private protects you from unnecessary criticism and external expectations. Many times, by sharing too much, we open the door for others to minimize our efforts or try to influence our decisions. By keeping your progress to yourself, you maintain complete control over your journey, free from outside opinions that don't contribute to your growth. This secret also has an interesting effect. The people who once didn't value you start realizing that they are being excluded from your life. This feeling of being left out can make them uncomfortable, especially if they were used to having access to everything about you. Suddenly, you become more reserved, more enigmatic, and this triggers curiosity. Many times they will try to get closer just to understand what has changed. So, the next time you achieve something important, take a deep breath and resist the urge to share it immediately. Keep this achievement to yourself for a while and observe how it transforms the way people see you. Those who once didn't value you will begin to realize that you are much more than they thought. And believe me, that makes all the difference. Be unpredictable. The power of surprise. Predictability is comfortable, but over time it can become boring, especially for someone who doesn't value you. One of the most effective ways to capture someone's interest is to embrace unpredictability. When you do something unexpected, you break the routine and create moments that grab attention. This changes the way people perceive you. Think about your usual behavior. If someone already knows exactly how you'll react or what you'll do, there's no room for surprise. To change this, start making unexpected decisions. It could be something simple like switching up your style, choosing a new hobby, or even exploring new places. These seemingly small actions create a significant impact. After all, everyone enjoys a little mystery. Another powerful trick is to change the way you interact with people. If you're always the one reaching out first, stop for a while. If you're the one who always makes plans, wait for the other person to take the initiative. This shift in attitude creates a positive imbalance, making those who didn't value you realize that they can no longer predict your actions. This intrigues them and leaves them with a question: what's going on? And of course, surprising people also means doing something completely out of the ordinary. Why not take a spontaneous trip, start a new course, or learn a unique skill? This not only enriches your life but also shows the world, and especially those who took you for granted, that you are dynamic and full of possibilities. It's impossible to ignore someone who is constantly evolving. Finally, remember that being unpredictable isn't just about surprising others. It's about keeping the spark of curiosity alive. This vibrant energy makes people around you realize that you are not someone who settles or follows a script. And inevitably, those who didn't value you will start wondering how they ever overlooked someone so interesting. How to be irresistible without changing who you are. Being irresistible is not about becoming someone else. It's about bringing out the best in yourself. When you embrace who you truly are, rather than trying to fit into other people's expectations, the effect is transformative. The secret lies in radiating authenticity, something that very few people do, but that, when done right, leaves a lasting impression on everyone around you. The first step is to accept your unique qualities. What are the traits that make you different? It could be your smile, the way you listen, or even a special talent that has always been part of you. When you recognize and appreciate these characteristics, your energy changes, and those who once ignored you begin to see what was always there, but they failed to notice. Another essential point is taking care of yourself. When you feel good about yourself, it shows in everything you do. The way you maintain your health, organize your routine, or dedicate time to things you love communicates to the world that you are someone who values themselves. And do you know what happens? People are naturally drawn to this positive energy. Being irresistible also means having confidence. It's not about being perfect. It's about believing that you have something unique to offer. Walk with your head held high, speak with clarity, and stand firm in your opinions. When you show confidence, you immediately impact those around you, including the person who didn't give you the attention you deserved. Never forget that true irresistibility lies in authenticity. Don't try to change who you are just to please someone else. The people who truly matter will understand and appreciate your essence. Those who once didn't notice you will start to see the difference. And over time, they won't be able to resist this new energy you are radiating. The final step: learning to let go. Reaching the point where you can let go of someone can be one of the hardest steps, but also the most liberating. When you insist on staying in a place where you're not valued, you get trapped in a cycle that only causes more pain and frustration. Learning to release that attachment doesn't mean you lost. It means you chose to prioritize yourself. It's an act of courage and self-love that completely transforms your life. Letting go starts with acceptance. Recognize that you did your best, that you tried, but that the outcome is not entirely up to you. Sometimes things don't work out not because of a lack of effort, but because of incompatibilities that can't be fixed. When you accept this reality, something powerful happens. The guilt and heaviness begin to fade, making room for a fresh start. A crucial part of this process is redirecting your attention. Instead of wasting energy thinking about what could have been, focus on what's next. Use this moment to invest in yourself, strengthen your self-esteem, and create new opportunities. Sign up for a course, make new friends, change your routine. Every new experience is a reminder that your life is not defined by one person or one situation. Letting go is also a silent message to those who didn't value you. It says, "I don't accept less than what I deserve," and this can have a greater impact than any words or actions. Suddenly, you are no longer available. You are no longer chasing nor worrying about being recognized. This absence speaks louder than any speech, and the person who once ignored you will inevitably feel the void you left behind. And do you know what's most important? This process is not about them. It's about you. It's your chance to break free from limiting patterns and create a new chapter filled with endless possibilities. Letting go is not a defeat. It's a personal victory. It's a declaration to yourself and to the world that you deserve to be treated with the same respect and love that you've always given. And by doing so, you make space for something far greater and better to enter your life. Now that you've learned these 12 simple tricks to deal with people who don't value you, it's time to put them into practice and change the dynamics around you. Remember, the power is in your hands, and every step you take toward recognizing your own worth is a step toward transforming your life. Those who didn't value you before will soon realize how special and unique you are. And it all starts with the actions you choose to take from this moment on.